morning, everyone. Welcome to the Royal News Network Saturday morning live stream. I hope you guys are all having a super fantastic and amazing Saturday. We won't have too long an intro because we need to get to the stuff because I have somewhere to be. So this is going to be a little bit shorter than usual. I was hoping to make it to a full hour, but then the restaurant we're going to, because we're having a family lunch, apparently is 45 minutes away, not 30. So I'm like, oh, like I was really hoping it was shorter. So we have had a crazy week for sure. But just in case anyone is at all curious, that yes, oh yes, because there's so much misinformation out there, I can confirm. Yes, I did get my stuff from As Ever is actually officially on the way, in case you were curious. So it does exist. Things have been sold. In theory, I should be getting everything I paid for. So we shall see what that looks like when it arrives. But it is apparently on the way. So, anyways, just wanted to clarify that real quick this morning. Hopefully, yes, mic is on. All right. So, we will start with the questions that we got from last night and the day before. So, I just did it this way because I am sort of, and I realize I'm doing a long intro now, trying to share and I like kind of move the Saturday morning live streams in maybe a bit of a different direction because they haven't really been growing. They've been pretty steady. And obviously, the audience overall has been growing. So, what we're going to do instead is I think we're going to try to maybe have pre planned questions, pre planned things talked about. And then as other things pop up on the stream, we go and do those things as well. But just thought that might streamline the process, especially for this morning. So, we'll start with some of our members' questions. And Creative Chaosify has a couple. So, Rio will be the next to host the Earthshot Prize. Do you think Catherine and or the children will attend? That's a big possibility. We just don't know for sure yet. I would love it if they did. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. But obviously, Catherine hasn't attended she didn't attend South Africa. And she didn't attend Singapore either. So, like, Singapore was around the time that maybe she was starting to test for various things to figure out what was giving her issues. So that might have been, they said Georgia's test, but it might have been also a health test for her. So it's kind of a good, like, kind of double whammy type of thing. And so this time it might be a possibility because obviously last year she was still recovering from her cancer treatments. So might be a good time for a tour like they did in Boston, but they might decide not to do that as well. So number 2, do the UK royals ever visit other European royals privately? Or are they friends outside of state duties? Like, we have had Beatrice, and I think Harry went to some sort of wedding for somebody. I think she went to the wedding of Prince Amadeo of Belgium. I mean, there's been a couple of crossovers, but they're honestly, for most of them, they're not that close. The Brits are they're on an island and they're on an island to themselves in many ways. The continental royals are just so much closer. They just seem very, very tight. William is a couple years younger than them too. So I think some of that, William's kind of in a weird spot actually, because obviously he's younger than Victoria. He's the same age as Princess Madeline, but younger than Crown Princess Victoria. Victoria is actually the youngest of her cadre, which is like Haakon and William Alexander and Felipe and Frederick. They're all very similar in ages. So William's kind of younger. And so I think some of that hinders that maybe they're just kind of staggered just enough where it's harder to connect, if that makes sense. Apparently, Meghan made her staff sign NDAs so they won't say where the products are made. Isn't that mandatory to provide on food labels? So we will see. Again, my stuff is in the mail. And I struggle to say for sure because I feel like I'm getting so many conflicting versions of everything that I'm just like, I'm just going to hang back here for a second and just sort of look at the actual products. I mean, obviously I can, I know where this came from and stuff like that. So does her stuff reach the standard of the stuff I have on my desk? Because I have so much jam on my desk at this point, guys. It's sort of ridiculous. People were asking me, well, why don't you buy Hive Grove jam this week? And I was like, I have so much jam, guys. And I don't even really like jam. I've made my own jam. I have this stuff. I'm like, I have jam coming out of my eyeballs. I don't need more jam. But we will be looking at Meghan's spread. All right. It says, what was your favorite royal event this week? Relevant this week. I feel like there was something. It's not coming to me off the top of my head. It's been a busy week. Yeah, I'm drawing a total blank. My extreme apologies. So, we were sort of on the tail end. Oh yeah, we were on the tail end of Mary and Frederick in Paris, and that was awesome. So, number 5, apparently Baroness Chalker, who criticized Dr. C as a dictatorial, serves as a minister of state for overseas development in Africa in the 80s, at a time when that meant taking resources from Africa in exchange for aid. Really seems like Harry surrounds himself with people with outdated thoughts on UK relations with Africa. Thoughts? It's hard because it is complicated, and you can have that type of history and yet see the development and be going along with the development at the same time. So it could be, but I think too, he has other people on the board. He has people from Africa on the board. So the board was actually very mixed. And so I think it's just hard to totally say. Hard to totally say. So I always hesitate a bit just because I feel like there's so much we don't know. And I just realized too, my desk is super messy. Sorry, guys. That we don't know what everything that's going on. And so sometimes that makes things complicated. So, I mean, it could definitely be though. I mean, I think you were dealing with sort of like kind of the direction Sophie wanted to go in and the old, what's this word I'm searching for? Not old team, but old direction or something. And so those were clashing. The new vision and the old vision were definitely clashing. And I think Santabale had been not doing well for a while. It was sort of, I think, just churning in the same spot all the time. And they tried to make a radical change and it really fell through. And then you have this caustic breakup. So all those things come together. Number 6, would a man in Dr. C's position have been treated the same? Come on, we know the answer to that one. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they did hire her. I do think though, competing visions, clashing, you know, directions, all that comes into play. And I think that's regardless of the gender of the person. Number 7, will the UK royals step up to fix Harry's mess this time behind the scenes? No, that's not their job. I mean, they have so much more to worry about. They don't really care. So number 8, I would like to learn about food history. What kind of food is served at royal banquets? Silly question, I know. We do get some of the menus. I think I'd have to look. I think I did get the menu for the state visit between Egypt and Denmark. So you do get some of that as being given to the press before the meals. Sometimes the press takes pictures of the menu, which is kind of cool. So you just have to look for those. Number 9, what royal event are you most looking forward to this year? I mean, I always love the Nobels. If there's, the inauguration in Luxembourg is going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, we'll see what we have. 10, how do you predict the Marius saga will end? Is there a call for a strong Republic in Norway? What kind of relationship does he have with his half sister? So Marius is the son of Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway, and he is quite close to his sister. My understanding, she actually was very complimentary of him and her other brother in her 18th birthday speech. And I know there's not really a strong call for a republic in Norway, but it does undermine the trust in the monarchy, and that's trust. I mean, I don't know if Hakan and Mette-Marit can claw it back because they are a huge part of obviously this problem. But I think probably Ingrid Alexandra can, but she's got to be careful because it is her half brother. So she's got to think of things too. So thank you so much. It's Creative Chaosify for the questions. All right. So let's see. We have Oksana says, what do you think is next for Meghan? She has podcasting coming up. She is building her empire, but will actually pen out? Will she be rebranding herself once again by the end of the year? What about Harry? He seems to be doing nothing. Also want to echo many comments. Stay true to yourself. We appreciate your commentary. And I don't have to agree with everything, but I respect and appreciate your hard work. Why, thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. So what's next for Meghan? I mean, she's trying to build this empire, but it really does rest a lot on as ever. Like that's sort of the whole thing. If the brand stinks, she's sort of in a bad spot. So, I mean, that's part of the reason. So she has promised with her products, like one of the things she's promised is to elevate the ordinary and make it extraordinary, basically. And so my just kind of thought and idea are sort of putting it to the test is saying, did she elevate the extraordinary or ordinary at all? We'll have to see. So I'm looking forward to checking out her products and seeing if that's true or not. It's sort of like you can argue a scientific test in some ways. So yeah, we will be seeing, but Harry, I think is probably in a crisis. Like he's sort of in the midlife crisis age. He's lost his charity. He's being accused of all these things. Ironically, the same things as he accused his family of. And so I think he's facing a definite midlife crisis. I think Meghan doesn't need him as much anymore. I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, she loves loves bombs him and stuff like that. But I also think she's starting to probably pull away and find her own route, and she's not including him on his social media. That might be his choice. But she also thinks he's toxic. I'm sure he got endlessly lectured about ruining her epic launch. And anything that goes wrong, I imagine in some ways she'll probably blame him, to be quite honest. So yeah, it's I don't think it looks particularly good for him. I think, he could enter a period of depression or something like that. We don't know if he's going to the UK next week for his security case. That would be interesting if he did. And yeah, if she rebrands herself by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised. I was actually about to, and I'm so glad I waited. So glad I waited. I was about to actually, make some sort of post or video talking about like Scam Jam, because it wasn't until like, I want to say it was after 10 o'clock at night that I finally got confirmation that my stuff had been packed in a box. I had purchased 2-day shipping. I still feel like I should get my $20 back because they just did not do things in a timely manner at all. My stuff should have been in the mail yesterday, like early at the very latest. So lots of, I think, mismanagement on the end of her packers. So she did not pick good packers, in my opinion. So that's definitely something to criticize her for. So we shall see where it goes. Her Majesty the Queen says, I need an as ever order update. I'm starting to wonder if there's a history of not bowing to the Montecito Queen, had their orders canceled. Is there a part of you that is worried they have your personal info? I normally wouldn't think something like that, but that would be a problem. But then who are we dealing with? Also, why did ads ever send out press packs after the release and sold out in the purpose of hype and to get people order another botched misstep where they intended to go out earlier? Was the release supposed to be go at earlier date? None of this makes sense. So that's a great question. Obviously a complicated question. So number one, when it comes to my order, it is in the mail. Am I worried about my personal info? Not really. Like most of our personal info, especially in the States, is sort of everywhere. Like I was a part of a big technically government breach. So like it's kind of par for the course. But I was curious because my order hadn't been packed yet. If it did get canceled because I'm not a critic of Meghan. And to their credit, that was not the case. Again, I am all for putting her stuff to the test. And if she's proud of her product, she should be fully open to having somebody test them out. So I think that's good. I was not surprised that we didn't have issues, but it was getting close to me starting to direct message royal reporters going, I paid for this and I don't have anything. So to be fair, they did get out. And so I think that's good. So yeah, the press packs, that was interesting. So I think something got botched in the process because it's sort of stupid to have the press packs go out after other people have spent money for your products to give them to people for free. If it had been done last week, hey, that's part of marketing, totally fine. I don't have any issue with that. My issue is that she sent it to people before people who paid her money got her products. I feel like that's rude. I think that's inconsiderate. I think it's just kind of stupidity, to be quite frank, because there's just no reason why. Like, why didn't you give it to them a while ago? I think everything did get bungled because of Harry's mess. I think it was maybe supposed to go out last week, but then again, she should have. So here's the weird thing about Meghan's stuff is that like we were told her show was delayed because of the fires, but I think it was really delayed because of products. Because for some reason we didn't get certain lead up to things as we got later. And so it just feels like I was like, okay, that should have been always in the cards. And why wasn't that released a week before? Anyways, all very confusing. But I think it was supposed to be released last week because she was building up to it all last week. Got delayed because of Harry's mess, and then we have continued like sort of problems, but it went out, and that's all that matters. So Renee Marie Berg Erden Iroka. So I am so sorry. I butchered that for sure. Says, hi, Brittany. I appreciate your objectiveness and sticking to the facts very much. For better or for worse, Harry has always defended Meghan. Her behavior this week with her posts irks me. Yeah, it's a little smug, a little weird. Like her interactions with her mom was very strange. Like her mom doesn't seem like she cares much about her, to be quite honest. It's kind of weird. And it looks like Meghan's so desperate to get her mom to engage, and her mom's like, I don't care. So I do almost feel a little sorry for her that way. So let's move on to the other questions we have here. And so this is, I've got Bird Atude says, I would like to know if there is any update on Maria's and the Queen of Sweden after her foot surgery. Sorry, I can't think of her name. other than the Queen of Sweden, a mother to Princess Madeline. So she, Queen Sylvia is her name, and she had foot surgery recently. And so, as far as we're aware, she's recovering well at home. And it was something, oh gosh, now I can't remember what they said about it. It wasn't like a super big deal. I can't quite remember. So she is doing well when it comes to Maria. So the latest update I saw briefly, and I haven't, just because the week has been so crazy, I haven't had a chance to look real closely because I do have to go to like see Oak Horror, and that might sound weird, but that is like the literal name of the website. And it is like the latest is that he is there's another case they're investigating. So I just went up to their website and I was just going to see if I can click on, because usually they'll have his names. It looks like there's more here to another part of this case. I mean, I need to do another deep dive of this case because there's just so much. Yeah. So there's a new investigation underway. A new woman has been granted victim status in the case against Marius. So, and the incident happened 4 months ago. I had to be careful with my language for YouTube reasons, but yeah, this is like really serious. So it just keeps getting worse. All right, we have DA gave a super chat. Thank you so much. Good morning from sunny Manhattan Beach, California. I hope you have a wonderful day. Why, thank you so much. Yes, we are having a little birthday lunch because it'll be, everybody will be out of town on their birthdays. So it'll just be kind of a little nice family get together. But I was like, I really should have pushed back on the timing a bit because I was like, well, maybe I can get like an hour done. And then I was like, my sister was like, well, we're leaving at 10:30. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, oh, it takes 45 minutes to get there. And I was like, oh. I was thinking it'd take 30 minutes. So that was my mistake. So we will keep going though. So Trey Javier asks, what are your thoughts on Daniel, the makeup artist, engaging with the Sussex squad and commenting on Taz, Tina Brown, Bethany Frankel, etc.? Has your as ever order arrived? So no to the order arriving, but him engaging is just not a good look. It's kind of dumb. Don't do that. It just makes, because all of Meghan's friends have that same like kind of desperate need for attention. And like, what is it going to prove? It's not going to, I mean, I've even had my own, like, I should have stopped engaging at some point this week. And I'm just like, but I just want to, like, plead my case for X, Y, and Z. And so I was like thinking, I should have stopped too. So like, I understand sometimes there's, you feel the need to, but honestly, like if her products are good, it doesn't matter what the haters think. The products are good. That's the thing. And that's the thing about Bethany Frankel is like, you can hate her. She doesn't care. Her products are good, or her products were good when she did Skinny Girl. She sold it for millions of dollars. And so I think there's comes something where it's just like, don't care, don't engage. Like, and it just, I think the thing I've noticed is that, there's sort of like the sides building up. There's 100% hate Harry and Meghan side, and then there's the Sussex squad side. And like, if you try to fall in the middle, like neither one side likes that. So it's just becoming a bit challenging. It's like, don't feed into the space. I think it's better not to. But I thought it was probably pretty unprofessional of him to do that, unnecessary. So, but he's Meghan's friend. Am I surprised? No, I am not. Blue Ella says, Harry's charity, have you reviewed more of the articles on it? Has your opinion changed, or you wait for the outcome of the charity commission? Finally, I think Richard Eden creates some controversial clickbait titles, like the recent one on Prince William. It's true journalism dying on the altar of profit for negativity? That's a great question. So we'll answer the first one first. I mean, I've still continued to read articles on it. My opinion hasn't really changed at this point. I'm still trying to gather data. Like, I have sort of a theory that's forming, but I think I'm going to wait. It's just, to me, there's just too much kind of, obviously he said, she said, we really determine. We've been told. This was the interesting thing, and I have to read again to double check, but we were initially told it was an email Harry sent, and then Rebecca English said it was a text message Harry sent about the whole Meghan thing to Dr. Sophie. Those inconsistencies I don't like. It undermines the story. So I am just sort of waiting for the actual charity commission, because at this point, I'm hoping a neutral party can actually evaluate things, because we got too much going on, and sort of the objectivity of the situation has been sort of lost. So I'm really hoping that the charity commission at least is able to provide some clarity. Although I think the real answer is that this was just simply a business relationship that soured. That I think at the final end of the day, that's probably will be what will happen. I think claims of financial impropriety or anything like that, I think are gonna end up not really having the outcome people want. When it comes to Richard Eden, yeah, is so there's clickbait, guys. That's sort of good clickbait. You'll notice it with my videos, except for this one, is that the clickbait is sort of to have something interesting. So you click on it and you see the interest, but you also don't kind of get too crazy. So Richard Eden, what he did this week is he had an article about Williams hiring this new law firm. Ooh, and it was really just he's like deciding to, put his own foot forward. He's decided, oh no, specifically, William hired Princess Diana's divorce firm. That was like the headline. And I was like, okie dokie, what does that mean? And so I went there and I looked at it and I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. So I just saw that and I was like, that's sort of like, obviously very clickbait in a bad way, because in some ways he's like insinuating things that are just simply not true. William is just putting a new law firm on retainer. So yeah, and I question this week, have been questioning a lot, is that when it comes to obviously this situation that, I've dealt with a bit of backlash on social media and stuff like that, is that, I'm questioning too and wondering, negativity does sell. I 100% understand that, but, positivity does too. And how can we bring more, let's say, positivity into the overall, kind of space? And that's sort of what I'm hoping, like, to find a greater balance. I think it'll be better for me, better for others. And so I am just sort of hoping to find that, because I don't want it to be all negative, and I feel like it's sort of ventured that way. And so how do we rein it back? How do we refine our love for royals? Because I feel like everything's gotten so caustically negative, and I feel like it doesn't make things quite as much fun, because royal watching should be fun. Yes, it's tough. I actually have a whole series I'll be doing on X, sharing some more behind the scenes stuff on, like, looking back, and I may do some stuff for like the members or something, looking back at the videos and coverage I've gotten from way back when my channel only had like 5,000 subscribers or 3,000 when I went to the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. I have so many videos and pieces of content and everything that I've never shared, just because I'm like, oh, the time has passed or stuff. So what I wanted to do is go back and kind of sort of find a little bit of that fun, if that makes sense. So I'm just sort of trying to suss out where that is. And because I do like talking about Harry and Meghan, I find it interesting, but I don't want it to become everything. This channel has always had the vision of being, hopefully one day, the number one royal news, like, place in the world. So that is sort of like the grand goal, which is probably a little scary to say that, but that has been sort of always overall the grand goal. But sometimes you get sidetracked in that vision. And so I'm sort of recalibrating and going back to that more streamlined look. And so if you guys are just joining, because realize we have a lot more people, we're doing the live stream a little bit differently today because I have a very truncated schedule. So I've asked questions before, so I was going over those and answering those in a post. And then there's a couple of super chats that came in, so I'll respond to those real quickly. And I saw another question here that I thought was probably pretty good to answer. And we may do this a bit more in the future, because there's just so much to go on and so many comments that I miss. And sometimes I respond to like multiple questions and stuff. So this may help streamline the process. It's been something I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. And so I just thought, since I only have like probably a little less than an hour today would be a good day to test it out, to be quite honest. So my apologies. But I do have Tracy McPherson. Hey, yeah, Brittany and Miss Pippa. I heard her little bark in the background. Oh, yes. And I do have a video to share with members, guys. The bird eggs have hatched. We do have baby birdies in the nest. So mama is still sitting on it a bit. So we may have a couple of more babies to marinate, but we have a couple of baby chicks and they're so cute. And I like got a video of them and they're opening up their mouths and like, because I think I'm squealing and they're thinking, oh, mom's back. So that was fun to see them. So glad mama bird and babies made it. That's like, so I'm so excited. All right. Teresa Natalie said, good morning, Brittany and Miss Pippa. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hope you have a wonderful day. You deserve it after the Meghan Markle craziness of this year so far. Yes, it's been crazy. I'm looking forward to my trip, sort of being able to remove myself a little bit from the crazy, enjoy going to castles and palaces. And I will be going to actually two things. So this is the reason the trip kind of got done is because I happened to get tickets to these two places and I haven't been. So I missed out my East Wing of Buckingham Palace tour last year, so I'll be doing that this very soon. And then I have tickets to tour St. James's Palace, which I didn't even know was open to tours. So it is like a very like I happened to catch the email, guys, as it was like as it had gone out. And when I looked, like basically every single ticket was gone except for a couple of days or like one day or something. So I got one of the few last tickets. So I was very excited about that. Can't wait. So thrilled. So that's gonna be very exciting. So we also have here, oh, Sir Squirrels a lot. This is a good question. Hi, Brittany, Miss Pippa, and everyone. I saw an article that mentioned a scandal with Princess Leonor. What happened? I thought she was on tour of duty with the Navy on her huge sailing ship. So the only scandal I can think of, and I mentioned this, I think, in a video recently where there was some bikini shots taken of her. And she was like on a bit of a break, which happens like you're sailing, you're on a bit of a break. And so these bikini shots were taken and then sold to the tabloids. And so I think that's what you're referencing. If not, I will have to look into it to double check. But I just found that kind of unfortunate that somebody obviously shared those, because those you could argue should be kept private. But this is I wanted to take and share that it's not just the British royals that are stalked by the paparazzi, it's other royal families too. Like in their own country, they are, stalked and harassed. And there's definitely desires like, paparazzi pictures of Princess Madeline and her family. Now, this was sort of the rare towards the later years of her life in Florida, but they would show up in tabloids. I would see them every once in a while. So it's one of those things. It's just very, very sad. So, all right, let's keep going with the pre-questions we have here. All right. Making sure I didn't miss anything. All right, so D Law says, do you think there is anything more behind William changing his attorneys other than the statement given by Kensington? Probably not really. I sort of doubt it, but you never know. But like sometimes too, you just want to sort of like his father had a law firm, and that you could say, look at this sort of the way there was an issue with Santibale is that there was his father's law firm, which did things his way, and William just found that he didn't really like it. So he's like, okay, I'm going to switch it over to this law firm. Obviously not a one-to-one comparison, but kind of you can see it that way. And then also Dizfan also, and we'll move on to Dizfan says, thoughts on William changing attorney. So we kind of answered that. What are your thoughts on Piers Morgan speaking out about the Santibale scandal? With Piers speaking out so much in the last 5 years since Mexit, private meeting with Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie, do you think it's fair to say he has a close tie to the royal family now that Harry and Meghan have left the UK? So obviously, yeah. I mean, he's kind of, the thing is, when you're sort of in the upper echelon of British society, you tend to mingle with royals or aristocrats and those sorts of things. So you kind of tend to flow in those circles. And, obviously royals share things to him knowing he could share them on the air. If they're particularly like, well, don't share this, they might say, just keep this off the record or something like that. And so I'm not surprised he's getting close. And the thing is, too, he's just close via proximity. He lives right there. So Harry's not there. And so, like, not that he's a replacement for Harry or anything, but, they're chatting with him and everything. So to me, this is sort of natural. And then if he's speaking out, like, obviously there's just so much with the Santibale thing that we just don't know at this point. We're just told, all these documents exist, but we haven't seen them. You guys, it's one of the things as a historian, again, you need to see the original. Like, if the original exists, you have to see it. You can't go off of a secondhand report. You have to see it for yourself if you can find it and if it exists. And so to me, that's what's missing in this situation still. And so it's just sort of a mudslinging contest. I mean, again, I'm hoping the Charity Commissions comes to some sort of simpatico for everyone. So maybe everyone can be happy. So, all right. All right, so this is from Sam MC says, please keep bringing you, Brittany. I subscribe when you were in the thousands and liked your non-willingness to overly speculate at the time on Meghan's pregnancies or not. No conspiracy theories indulged. Jumping immediately on the bandwagon is not your style or mine. Also, I applaud your ability to get sponsors. Jewelry is not my thing, but I like that you got a sponsor. Many other YouTuber creators had them. I don't pay for content. So how else can the channel be funded? You have to make a living. Keeping you, don't let the Markle toxicity rub off. Much love from Canada. Thank you so much, Sam. And yeah, that's sort of, can be challenging at times, but I really do try to. This channel has always been about, guys, and maybe I've let the mission drift a bit, and that's my fault, but it's always been about compelling royal news and commentary. And it has always been about, and my always thought has been, is that if a Meghan Markle fan will watch my videos and think, well, she makes some good points, but I don't agree, I find that to be a win. I am not saying that nobody from the Markle side at all can ever watch this stuff. I hope they do. And if they think it's awful and they make a comment about that, that is totally their right. I think I'm interested in free speech, allowing people to have their thoughts, because that's the way we have conversations and that way we can learn. I mean, I like having people, point out different things because it helps actually me think in different ways. So thank you so much again, Sam. We have Karen Lisa's here. Last two videos, Doria has been on. She's been looked miserable. Do you think she can see the writing is on the wall? I mean, honestly, Doria kind of left. My understanding, this is according to Tom Bauer, is Doria left when Meghan was young. I think Meghan said her mom was a travel agent at some point or something, and that her mom basically dropped her off at her dad's house one day and was like, "Well, here you go, because I want to go and pursue my career." So it's not a surprise in some ways. I don't think Doria's ever been very motherly. I think some of that has rubbed off on Meghan too. Meghan has never struck me as very motherly. And so I think I would not be surprised if Meghan has sort of a deep mother wound. And I was seeing as well, just in their interactions in that kitchen, where it's like Doria was kind of ho-ha, and Meghan was so tense. Do you like it, mom? Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Please like it. Please like it. And I almost feel bad for her because it seems like she's so desperate for her mom to like things. I mean, I think her mom just likes the money, to be quite honest, and the attention. I think she likes going in and getting to meet Kris Jenner. That has always been my impression. I know some people have always loved Doria, but my impression has always been, and it has not changed, is that she was the reason Meghan chose to stick by her, or chose to have her in the life or whatever, is that Doria just went along with everything, never questioned the stories she was spinning, and just wanted to grift along with her daughter in a similar way. That's just my opinion. That has always been my read on the situation. Because if, and to me, it's if you were a mom and your daughter was getting married, and if you were divorced from your husband, even if it wasn't, let's say, great, and granted, I haven't been through a divorce, so I can't totally say. I think, it would be, I would be saying, hey, I really want your father to be here. It's important for your father to be here. And Doria seemed to not care two licks about Thomas. And that just, to me, just doesn't bode well for family dynamics. So we do have as well Teresa, Natalie, who have become a YouTube member. Why, thank you so much, Teresa. I'm so excited to have you with us in this just very fun little corner of the world, talking about royal stuff. It's just, I mean, it's so fun. It's been kind of a not always as fun as you want it to be, but I do truly enjoy this royal space. It's so fun. And so really, really hoping to figure out and various things and everything. And so let's say we do have a couple more questions that came through, and it says, Coastal Angel says, it's interesting that Harry goes to bat to defend Meghan when she won't defend Harry or stand by him. That's a very question. That's a very good observation. Very good. Because the thing to me is I look at that and go, she was totally trying to save her own bacon by not engaging with anything. And so I think that is huge right there, is that they she doesn't care. She doesn't care what's happens to him. It's all about her. And so I think that's big. Lori Hawkins says, do you think Prince William and Princess Catherine are in freak out mode, being aware of King Charles's health and how Prince William may be king sooner rather than later? They are such hands-on parents, and they must be fearful about that. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that too, because I mean, obviously, family and home have been incredibly important to Catherine and William. And again, if they raise 3 really well-adjusted children, it's insane, how much of a benefit that'll be to the monarchy. But also Charles being ill is scary, and I'm sure they're they were hoping to get like 10 to 15 years, I'm sure was their initial thought. They might not get that. It might be within 5 years, to be quite honest. It just I worry. I mean, obviously, it depends on the cancer and the treatment. It just worries me that he's still getting treatment. It, like, signifies to me that maybe his situation can't be cured and that he's living with this forever. I mean, it obviously doesn't pull him down too much, but he's under strict observation. So, yeah. Yeah, it's just really worrying. So, Deep Thought, who asked a couple hours ago, did you get a normal order confirmation for your as ever order? Or I've seen quite a few queries given the controversy over the dodging platform Meghan used, which such bad reviews. People warn not to buy from any retailer using it, as they often either sell non-existent products or don't ship. The customer service don't reply or refund. So do only do so after extremely long periods. Makes sense. Meghan when you use a platform like this with a really bad reputation, it must be cheap. Yes, it's not a good thing. I still like, if there's somewhere where I can give a review, one of the things I'll on as ever I will say is that I paid for 2-day shipping and it took well over 2 days. So let's see. So 48, like 50 plus hours. No, more than that. 60 hours or so. 60 hours for it to get in the mail. And it was at the end of the Friday. So like the weekend will it get picked up? I don't know. So I think from like a packing and shipping perspective, this is pretty pathetic. We know she didn't have large quantities. There's like no way she had like 100,000. Like I would, again, guys, my estimation of the number of products she had was 500 to 1,000. That was my estimate. Now it could be as low as maybe 250 or something. Like, we know the honey, there was like 12 of those. There must have been just 12 because like barely anybody got honey. It'd be like you could probably literally count the number of people who got honey on one hand. So that obviously to me is a big issue, is that it took so long to pack. It should not have taken that long. And that it seems like, again, that she was prioritizing people who were getting things for free rather than people who paid her. And that's just something that is totally, totally inappropriate. From a business perspective, I find it very annoying. And I find it to be very disrespectful for people who paid. Like, if you send gift boxes ahead of time, that is perfectly fine as part of marketing. I 100% get that. But you send it to them after other people have paid you money. And you're not focusing on the people who paid you money. You're focusing on your friends. And from a business perspective, if I'm looking at the going, like for everything, it's like $121. And so you're looking at going, I had paid $121 to you. And I even paid for expedited shipping. So let's say I'm at $140. I can't get my stuff. But the reporter who's going to give you a positive review got a nice wood box for free. Again, that sends a terrible message. Pre, it works. Post, it does not. So, and also, would you consider putting the posts you do elsewhere on X here in the post section of YouTube for those who aren't on X for good reason? I have to hear others quoting from your fantastically written posts on X and wish I could see them myself, but not enough want to join X. If you do, please don't make it members only. So many of us can't afford the channel memberships. Yeah, I will definitely do that. I enjoy writing. It's one of my things. I am also doing Substack a bit too. So I may do it sort of because I want to do this whole series. So because it's not conducive to do here on YouTube, what I might do is I might put it on Substack and let you guys know. So those of you, Substack is totally free. You don't have to sign up for an email at all. You can just click push through. I don't have any payment things set up on there at all, because I do want to get back to some of that enjoying of royal watching, which means sharing the videos that I have, sharing the pictures. I have a lot of pictures and stuff. And some of that stuff has been seen recently and some of that stuff was seen a long time ago. And it just feels like a good refresh, if you know what I mean. It just feels like a good refresh after sort of what I would say time of darkness. So I want to find some of the joy back in royal watching. So hopefully I'll get some content while I'm in Europe too, and just be able to share it with you guys. Some of it, will be members only, but a lot of it won't. And we'll just be able to see, because I'll be doing, it might be just good to even do reactions after touring the various places so that I can give you guys kind of an overview of my initial thoughts. I can't film in St. James's or Buckingham Palace, unfortunately, but I can definitely let you guys know what it was like being there. I think last time I took a notebook, and I should do that this time. That way I can just take notes. So it's like, oh, here and here and here. Let me remember so I can share it with you guys what it was like. Because now I'm even thinking about Buckingham Palace. I was like, do I remember how that worked? I don't know. But I will say, but guys, if you've never been to Buckingham Palace, it is well worth the tour. I have not been to the East Wing, so this will be different. This will be the side they have renovated, and they're renovating sort of the other stuff right now. So I really loved traveling and doing those things. I think they're absolutely amazing, and I think this makes this work better because I've been to the locations, I've seen things, I've touched things. Not really. Don't touch unless you're allowed to, but been able to have like why I travel in part is because it gives you that greater context. Like having been to Stockholm, I understand the Nobels, where the palace is, where people move around so much better now. I can see something and go, I know exactly where they're at. Before that, I just didn't know. And so I think I find that immensely helpful. I think it's so good to have that additional context. I love context. Guys, to me, context is everything. It sort of goes back to my history research and everything. The context of a piece of material, like depending on what wording is used and reading the whole thing instead of a sentence changes everything. So, or it can change everything. So that's my 2-minute rant on the importance of context. Okay, sorry. I think my puppies are going a little mad downstairs. So I'm watching, since we're going to lunch and my sister has, some people touring the house. I'm taking both dogs, but it sounds like somebody slammed into a door somewhere. That's fun. So Liz E says, Brittany, I like your idea for your channel. I miss hearing about the other royals and history because Harry and Meghan take up all the space. Enjoy your family time. Why? Thank you so much. Yes, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be amazing and just an amazing just change of pace. I think, I hear people getting sick of that and I believe that, but like we got to slowly sort of turn the ship. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right. So we have a couple of minutes for a couple of questions here from the chat. Elizabeth says, good morning, everyone from sunny Manitoba, Canada. What an interesting week. Harry gets into worse trouble with Bale, and now the woman that accused Andrew has been seemingly fabricated that she is dying. So I saw this, guys, and it's so funny because I really wish I had said something, but I also didn't want to say that somebody was dying when they weren't, or wasn't dying when raising questions about somebody apparently dying. Because when I first read the story, I was like, okay, 4 days, that's really oddly specific. Like I would say days, not 4 days. And then I was reading the story and I was like, that doesn't make a ton of sense. And I wish I had said something, but it's like, I really didn't want to say if somebody was dying and I said, oh no, they're just faking and they died. I'd feel really bad. I'd feel really bad about that. So I'm like, okay. So yeah, she is apparently lying about that. And this is so interesting because it raises so many, 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 many different questions. Is about what is it the question about? So it raises so many questions about the veracity of her truth telling. Andrew paying her. Should he have paid her? And I understand why he did. It was around the Queen's Platinum Jubilee and they wanted the story to go away. But it looked bad. And so it's like, okay, so how much is she willing? Because it seems like she was trying to manipulate her kids. That's why she did this, was to manipulate her kids, because her and her husband are going through an acrimonious divorce and she wanted their attention. And so she got it, but she got the world's attention too. Now she claims she wanted to be on her personal social media and then bigger. Although I will say, guys, sometimes when it comes to accidents, you don't realize how bad something is until later. You think, oh, you're fine. And then something else pops up later. So that's I remember somebody telling me a story once. A motorcycle guy had an accident and then he's like, I'm fine. And he turned his head and decapitated himself basically because his spine snapped or something. And that's very graphic. But anyways, that was what I was thinking. So I don't know all the details, but obviously I think it's been 4 days later and she has not passed away. So she obviously wasn't going to pass away in 4 days. So yeah. Yeah. So anyways. So all right. So Carol asks, please correct me if I'm wrong, please. I think the member streams are for the Prince and Princess, Duke and Duchess. What is the minimum perk for people who join the all member stream? So I do posts. Sometimes I share videos with everyone, like some of the vlog things I've done. I try to prioritize responding to members and stuff. I don't always achieve that, but I try to. I need to bring somebody on at some point so I can try to help meet everybody's needs as much as possible. So I always feel like I fail in that way and I always feel so bad. But we definitely try to do members only videos. I still have vlogs from I need to get at least one of the vlogs from Europe done. I also have my jam making video that I haven't done yet. I was gonna work on the other day and then I had to move files off my computer. And so I was moving files off and then yeah, it was just yeah. Dia says sold out doesn't mean large quantities were sold out. Just saying. Yes. I don't think they were large quantities. I've never really thought they were going to be large quantities. But I think, again, when it comes to her business strategy, like, I think I understand it. Like, she's going to just do limited batches all the time, maybe, just maybe with some stables things in there. But I just feel like it's just sort of kind of all over the place. And like with the stuff she has, she's like, she couldn't have made that much. I'm sorry. Even if she was selling for a premium, she probably didn't make that much money off that stuff, to be quite honest. She also has to pay Netflix a royalty fee or something. And so she doesn't get all that money for herself. She has to split that. So yeah, and it sounds like they came along with her because she was bungling big time. That to me, it sounds like the case. Because you see her, she's talking about being a dolphin shark and everything. And I'm like, oh, honey, you don't know anything about business. There's a reason they call it Shark Tank and not Dolphin Tank. Yes, dolphins can be smart and intelligent and sometimes vicious, but a dolphin compared to a great white shark, sharks are scary. Sharks are scary. Dolphins, not so much. So, like, guys, actually, what's really fascinating is that you'll notice there are no great white sharks in captivity. They literally cannot be kept into captivity. They are too wild. They always die. And so when you think about that, it's like dolphins, like, oh, that's like a little small fry over there. Aletha McFarland says, and gave a super chat. Thank you so much. Harry's mess is also Meghan's mess. She is it. Yes, she is. They own the mess together. They are a couple, so in many ways. So Cheryl T in Oklahoma. Good morning, Brittany, Miss Pippin, RNM. Peace from rainy Oklahoma. Goose, Vinny, Misty, Foster, Fern say woof woof. Beginning to wonder if Andrew may not be guilty. Yeah. So my thought on Andrew, and I want to do a whole video on this because I feel like it's good to sort of revisit. Andrew is scummy. He's scummy. But I always like to treat people as human beings, meaning they're flawed, meaning they have you could say big questions, or sorry, they're flawed. People can be contradictory, and things can be a lot more nuanced than people think. What I've noticed a lot on social media is people want things to be black and white. They were quoting things at me, and then when it was just a little bit of my post. But if you read my whole post, I explained what I meant, and what I meant was actually, I was like looking and going, well, that's actually pretty good. Did you actually read it? So people like to treat things as black and white. And yeah, he might have had sex with that girl. She probably was underage. But the question that I've always come back to is, did he know that at the time? When girls are a certain age, it's hard to tell. And so he could have thought she was 18 when she was younger. We have no actual evidence they ever slept together. That is true as well. Does Andrew know he's guilty of something? Yes, because you don't do flub as badly as he did on Nightline without having a little bit of an issue going on behind the scenes, 100%. But when it comes to his guilt, to me, it came back to, did he know he was doing something illegal, or how much did he know of Jeffrey Epstein doing something illegal? Because he might have just been blinded by, pretty girls, and he wasn't using his big boy brain. So he was using a different brain, and that brain tends to lead men to folly. So I've always been of the opinion, I'm not entirely sure Andrew's guilty. Is he guilty of something? Probably. Is it what they were alleging him of? Probably not. Was it worthwhile for him to fight? I mean, probably not. But did he sort of get screwed because his mom's Platinum Jubilee was coming up and Charles wanted him to settle it to make it go away? Yes. So it'll be interesting to see. So Kim said, and we'll end on this, guys, because I do have to head out here. And I'm so sorry. Again, it was sort of a timing thing. I thought it was going to be, the place was 30 minutes away. My sister was like, oh no, it's 45 minutes away. I'm like, oh crud. So anyways, I did that after I did this. If I'd known that then, I may not have, I was scheduled it earlier. I would have put it off later. I don't know. Anyways, but we will wrap this up because I did want to chat with you guys. So Kim Marie says, I want to be in the UK when William ascends. Need to renew my passport. How long should I wait? Best hotel for viewing area. Thank you very much in advance. So I don't think there's a hotel that gives you a viewing area. So the Buckingham Palace is surrounded by a park. And so there's maybe a couple high-rise hotels, But would you get a view? Probably not, to be quite honest, unless you had binoculars or a big telephoto lens. So you will have to get out there. Is it pleasant? No, it's not. The coronation, at least for me, was pretty miserable. I preferred the Jubilee was wonderful. The weather was great. It was sunny. The weather was perfect. It was a great day in London. Uh, Coordination, not so much. It was sort of misery. And so I would go ahead and renew your passport. Best to always have it handy. It does take some time. So, like, I mean, you could always wait because usually the coronation happens, several months after the death of the previous monarch. But if you want to, let's say, see Charles lying in state or something like that, you can do that as well. So I would just keep an eye on it. And like, there's not really, you can find hotels in the area. My suggestion would be find a hotel that is in walking distance. You don't want to have to take a car. You don't want to have to take the metro. I mean, you can't take, like, my issue was I could actually easily walk back to my hotel. I just couldn't get on the other side of Buckingham Palace. They were forcing us out one way, and they just kept having to go and go and go round and around and around and around and around. Like, I couldn't get back in. So like I went on the opposite side. So my hotel was on one side and I was on the other, and I could not get back. It was very close. Easily walk there. It was like literally a couple blocks away from Buckingham Palace. So very easy. So if you're curious, I was staying at the DoubleTree over there by Victoria Station. So I stay near train stations. And if I was going to attend a coronation again or anything very close to Buckingham Palace, I would tend to choose a hotel nearby in the vicinity that I can walk to. If, not a place close to the metro, but you don't want to have to run the risk of the metro not operating. Sometimes they shut down the stations right around the event for security purposes. So my suggestion again would be to get something within walking distance and realize you're going to be standing for a long time. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in this Saturday morning. Sorry, it was so short. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I shall talk to you guys again very, very soon. Bye.